Cosmic convergence. The sprawling metropolis of New Geneva hummed with nervous energy as the first official Xenovian delegation prepared to land. Holographic displays flickered across skyscrapers, showcasing the approaching alien ship, a gleaming, organic-looking vessel that seemed to ripple as it descended through Earth's atmosphere. Dr. Zora Kfela stood at the viewport of the ship, her iridescent scales shimmering with anticipation. As the lead xenobiologist of the mission, she had spent years studying humanity from afar. Now, she would be the first of her kind to set foot on this strange blue world. Final approach, Dr. Kefala, the ship's eye chimed. Please prepare for atmospheric entry. Zara took a deep breath, her gills fluttering slightly. The gravity stabilizers engaged as they pierced the cloud layer, revealing the breathtaking expanse of human civilization below. Her 3 hearts raced with excitement and trepidation. As the ship touched down on the landing pad, a sea of faces, both human and holographic, turned towards them. Zara straightened her ceremonial robes and stepped towards the airlock. This was the moment that would change both their worlds forever. The door hissed open, and Zara emerged into the dazzling sunlight of Earth. A hesitant cheer went up from the crowd, quickly swelling into thunderous applause. Zara raised her 4-fingered hand in greeting, her telepathic senses overwhelmed by the cacophony of human thoughts and emotions. On behalf of the Xenovian Confederation, I bring greetings of peace and friendship, she projected, her words translated and amplified for the human audience. We come seeking understanding and cooperation between our peoples. As she descended the ramp, a small delegation of human officials approached. At their head was a tall, dark-skinned man with kind eyes and an easy smile. He extended his hand in the human greeting gesture Zara had studied. Dr. Kathala, welcome to Earth. I'm Dr. Jake Hawkins, lead scientist of the Human Xenovian Exchange Program. Zara hesitated for a moment before grasping his hand. A jolt of electricity seemed to pass between them at the contact. Their eyes met, and in that instant, Zara felt a connection unlike anything she had experienced before. The pleasure is mine, Dr. Hawkins, she managed, her normally steady voice wavering slightly. As Jake led her towards the welcome center, Zara found herself acutely aware of his presence. She had studied human physiology extensively, but nothing had prepared her for the visceral reaction she was experiencing. It was most perplexing. The next few hours passed in a whirlwind of introductions, speeches, and media interviews. Zara answered questions about Xenovian culture, their advanced biotechnology, and the goals of the exchange program. All the while, she found her attention continually drawn to Dr. Hawkins, who seemed equally distracted by her presence. As the formal ceremonies concluded, Jake approached Zara once more. I hope you're not too overwhelmed, he said with a chuckle. First days on a new planet can be pretty intense. Zara's mouth tentacles curled in amusement. I assure you, Dr. Hawkins, we Xenovians are quite adaptable. Though I must admit, the sheer variety of your species is fascinating. So many colors and shapes. Jake laughed, a warm sound that sent an unexpected tingle down Zara's spine. Please call me Jake. And if you think this is variety, just wait until you try Earth cuisine. Speaking of which, would you like to join me for dinner? I know a great place that serves both human and synthesized Xenovian dishes. Zara knew she should politely decline. Fraternization outside of official functions was discouraged, and yet, I would be delighted, Jake, she heard herself say. For research purposes, of course. Of course, Jake agreed with a wink. Purely academic. As they left the welcome center, neither of them noticed the disapproving glares from certain members of both delegations, nor did they see the shadowy figure that detached itself from the crowd, following at a discreet distance. The New Geneva Botanical Gardens provided a stunning backdrop for their dinner. Exotic flowers from across Earth and several off-world colonies bloomed beneath the transparent dome, bathing everything in soft, multicolored light. Zara marveled at the incredible biodiversity, so different from the carefully cultivated uniformity of Cenovian flora. Jake proved to be a charming and knowledgeable dinner companion. They discussed the similarities and differences between their species, the challenges of interstellar travel, and their hopes for the exchange program. Zara found herself captivated not just by his intellect, but by his passion and warmth. As the evening wore on, their conversation drifted to more personal topics. Jake spoke of his childhood dreams of exploring the stars, while Zara shared stories of her own upbringing in the vast underwater cities of Cenovia Prime. "It must have been incredible," Jake said, his eyes shining with wonder. "Growing up surrounded by such advanced technology in a society that had already reached the stars." Zara's tendrils rippled thoughtfully. "In many ways, yes. But we've also lost something in our rigid pursuit of perfection. The chaos and creativity of humanity. It's exhilarating." Their eyes met across the table, and Zara felt that same electric connection from earlier. She knew she was treading on dangerous ground, but found herself unable and unwilling to stop. "Jake," she said softly, "I must confess, I'm experiencing some rather unexpected physiological responses in your presence. My research didn't quite prepare me for this." Jake's breath caught. "I'm feeling it too, Zara. I know it's probably a bad idea, but I can't help wondering." Before he could finish, a commotion erupted at the entrance to the gardens. A group of protesters had gathered, wielding signs with slogans like "Earth for Humans" and "No Alien Influence." Jake cursed under his breath. "I'm so sorry, Zara. I thought we'd avoided the media circus." Zara's scales flickered with concern. "Perhaps we should leave. I wouldn't want to cause a diplomatic incident on my first day." They hurried towards a side exit, but the crowd had already spotted them. Angry shouts filled the air as the protesters surged forward. Jake instinctively moved to shield Zara, but she gently pushed him aside. "Allow me," she said, her eyes glowing with an inner light. She raised her hands, and suddenly the air between them and the crowd shimmered with a translucent, bluish energy field. Jake gaped in amazement. "Is that a force field?" Zara nodded, looking slightly embarrassed. "A simple application of our biotechnology. It won't harm them, but it will give us time to escape." As they slipped away into the night, Jake couldn't help but laugh. "You know, when I signed up for this exchange program, I never imagined it would be quite this exciting." Zara's mouth tentacles curled in amusement. "The night is still young, Dr. Hawkins. Who knows what other adventures await us?" Little did they know, their greatest adventure and greatest challenge was only just beginning. For in that moment of connection, something unprecedented had occurred. A spark of life, defying the laws of biology and the boundaries between their species. In the coming days, as Zara and Jake grew closer, that spark would kindle into a flame that would change both their worlds forever. The first human-Cenovian hybrid was about to be conceived, and nothing would ever be the same. As they parted ways that night, both felt a sense of exhilaration and trepidation. They were standing on the precipice of something monumental, even if they didn't yet realize its true nature. "Good night, Zara," Jake said softly, resisting the urge to reach out and touch her shimmering scales. "I'll see you tomorrow at the lab." Zara nodded, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with emotions she couldn't quite name. "Until tomorrow, Jake. Sweet dreams, as your people say." As she watched him walk away, Zara placed a hand over her midsection, where her 3 hearts beat in an unfamiliar rhythm. Something had changed within her, at a cellular level. It would be weeks before she understood the true significance of that change. For now, she simply gazed up at the stars, the same stars that shone over her homeworld, billions of miles away, and allowed herself to hope for a future where the boundaries between their people might someday dissolve. Little did Zara know, that future was already growing within her, one cell at a time. Quantum entanglement of hearts. The glistening spires of New Geneva's Astonishing complex pierced the morning sky, a testament to the rapid advancements born from human-Cenovian collaboration. Inside, Dr. Zorek Fowler hovered over a holographic display, her iridescent scales flickering with concentration. But her mind wasn't entirely on the data before her. Galloping gravitons, she muttered, a human expression she'd picked up from Jake. It had been 6 weeks since their fateful first meeting, and things had progressed far beyond purely academic interests. A wave of nausea hit her suddenly, causing her gills to flutter in distress. This was the 3rd time this week. She'd initially attributed it to adjusting to Earth's atmosphere, but a growing suspicion gnawed at her. "Hey there, Starshine," Jake's voice called out as he entered the lab. "You okay? You're looking a bit blue. Well, bluer than usual." Zara managed a weak smile. "Jake, we need to talk. I think something unprecedented has happened." Jake's brow furrowed with concern. "What do you mean?" Taking a deep breath, Zara activated a handheld scanner and passed it over her midsection. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a pulsating mass of energy within her. "By the cosmic web," Jake breathed, his eyes widening in disbelief. "Is that?" Zara nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm pregnant, Jake, with what appears to be a human-Sanovian hybrid." The lab fell silent, save for the soft hum of equipment. The implications of this discovery were staggering. It should have been biologically impossible. But how? Jake finally managed. "Our DNA structures are completely different. We don't even use the same amino acids." Zara's tendrils curled thoughtfully. "I have a theory. Remember that prototype quantum entanglement device we were working on? The one designed to bridge communication gaps between our species?" Jake nodded slowly, realization dawning. "The night you don't think?" "I believe the device may have inadvertently entangled our genetic material at a quantum level," Zara explained, essentially rewriting the laws of biology as we know them. Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking shell-shocked. "Zara, this changes everything. The scientific implications alone are mind-boggling, not to mention the political and social ramifications." Zara's scales dimmed slightly. "I know. I'm afraid, Jake. What will this mean for us? For our child? Will they reject us, hunt us down?" Jake pulled her into a gentle embrace, mindful of her delicate gill structures. "Hey, we're in this together, okay? Whatever happens, we'll face it as a team, a family." As they stood there, holding each other in the soft glow of the holodisplays, Neva noticed the small drone hovering outside the lab window. Its camera whirred softly, capturing every moment of their revelation. Miles away, in a secret bunker beneath the city, a group of figures huddled around a view screen. The drone's footage played out before them, eliciting gasps and murmurs of shock. "This changes everything," a gravelly voice announced. "Initiate Operation Starburst. We cannot allow this abomination to come to term." Back in the lab, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around them, Zara and Jake began to plan for a future they could scarcely imagine. "We should tell our families," Zara said, her voice trembling slightly. "And the exchange program directors. They need to know." Jake nodded, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "We'll do it together. But first, let's run some more tests. We need to understand exactly what's happening with this little quantum miracle of ours." Over the next few hours, they immersed themselves in a flurry of scans, genetic analyses, and theoretical modeling. What they discovered left them awestruck. "It's incredible," Zara breathed, staring at the holographic representation of the developing embryo. "The cellular structure is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if the best traits of both our species are being perfectly combined." Jake's eyes shone with wonder and pride. "Look at that brain development, and the cardiovascular system. It's got elements of both your triple heart setup and human circulation. This child could revolutionize medicine for both our species." As they marveled at the miracle growing within Zara, the reality of their situation began to sink in. This wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was their child. A being that would bridge two worlds, embodying the potential of human-Xenovian cooperation in its very DNA. "We should name it," Jake said softly, placing a hand on Zara's abdomen, "something that honors both our cultures." Zara's tendrils curled in agreement. "What about Nova? It means new in one of your Earth languages, and it's also the birth of a star, a cosmic event that brings light to the universe." "Nova," Jake repeated, smiling. "I love it. Nova Hawkins, Kefala. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think?" Their moment of joy was interrupted by an urgent ping from the lab's communication system. Zara's heart sank as she saw the caller ID. It was the Xenovian High Council. "They know," she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. "How could they possibly know already?" Jake's expression hardened with determination. "It doesn't matter. We'll face them together. Our love created something beautiful and revolutionary. They'll have to understand that." As Zara reached out to accept the call, neither of them could have predicted the chaos that was about to engulf their worlds. For in that moment, as an impossible child grew within her, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of High Counselor Zixtara, Zara's own grandmother. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed with barely contained fury. "Zara Kefala," she intoned, her voice cold as the depths of space. "You have committed an act of unspeakable transgression against our people. Explain yourself immediately." Zara straightened her posture, drawing strength from Jake's presence beside her. "Honored grandmother, members of the High Council, what has occurred here is not a transgression, but a miracle. A breakthrough that could usher in a new era of cooperation and understanding between our species." She went on to explain the unique circumstances of Nova's conception, emphasizing the scientific implications and potential benefits. As she spoke, Jake couldn't help but marvel at her poise and eloquence in the face of such pressure. The council members listened in stony silence, their expressions unreadable. When Zara finished, High Counselor Zixtara's eyes narrowed dangerously. "You speak of miracles and breakthroughs," she hissed, "but all I see is the pollution of our sacred genetic lineage. This abomination cannot be allowed to continue. You will return to Xenovia Prime immediately for corrective procedures." Jake stepped forward, his voice tight with anger. "Now wait just a minute. You can't just." The High Counselor cut him off with a dismissive wave. "This does not concern you, human. Zara, you have 24 Earth hours to comply. If you refuse, you will be declared void, stripped of your citizenship and all rights under Xenovian law. Choose wisely." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Zara and Jake in stunned silence. "They can't do this," Jake said finally, his fists clenched at his sides. "It's barbaric. We'll fight it. We'll go public, appeal to the human governments for asylum." Zara's scales had faded to a dull gray, her usual vibrant colors muted by shock and fear. "Jake, you don't understand. Being declared void, it's a fate worse than death in our society. I'd be cut off from the collective consciousness, unable to ever return home. And they hunt me, hunt us, to the ends of the galaxy." Jake pulled her close, his voice fierce with determination. "Then we'll run. We'll find somewhere safe, somewhere they can't reach us. I won't let them hurt you or our child." As they clung to each other, minds racing with possibilities and fears, a soft chime from Zara's communicator broke the tension. It was a message, encrypted and anonymous. "The stars still shine for those brave enough to reach for them. Eden Station. Coordinates attached. You have allies. Hurry." Jake and Zara exchanged a look of cautious hope. Eden Station, a neutral research outpost in deep space, outside the jurisdiction of both Earth and Xenovia. It could be their only chance. "We have to move fast," Jake said, already rushing to gather essential equipment. "We can take my personal shuttle. It's not much, but it'll get us off-world before they can stop us." Zara nodded, her resolve strengthening. She placed a hand over her abdomen, where Nova grew, blissfully unaware of the turmoil surrounding their existence. Hold on, little one, she whispered. Your adventure is just beginning. As they hurried from the lab, alarms began to blare throughout the complex. It seemed their window of opportunity was rapidly closing. Attention all personnel, a stern voice announced over the intercom. This is a Code Omega situation. Dr. Zora Kathala and Dr. Jake Hawkins are to be detained immediately. Use of non-lethal force is authorized. Non-lethal for now, Jake muttered grimly as they raced towards the hangar bay. I don't think your grandmother is feeling particularly merciful. They burst into the cavernous hangar just as a squad of security officers rounded the corner behind them. Jake's shuttle sat on the launch pad, a sleek vessel that suddenly seemed impossibly far away. Halt! A voice boomed. By order of the Xenovian High Council and Earth Central Command, you are under arrest. Zora's eyes began to glow with an inner light, her hands raised towards their pursuers. Jake, get to the shuttle. I'll hold them off. Before Jake could protest, a shimmering energy field erupted from Zora's palms, forming a barrier between them and the security team. The officers opened fire, their stun bolts dissipating harmlessly against the field. Jake sprinted for the shuttle, his heart pounding in his ears. As he reached the access ramp, he turned back to see Zora backing towards him, maintaining the energy field with visible strain. Come on, he shouted, extending his hand. With a final burst of effort, Zora dropped the field and leaped for the shuttle. Jake caught her hand, pulling her inside, just as a barrage of stun bolts peppered the hull. The access ramp slammed shut as Jake threw himself into the pilot's seat, his fingers flying over the controls. The engines roared to life, and the shuttle began to rise. Hold on, he yelled as they shot out of the hangar, accelerating hard enough to press them back into their seats. As New Geneva fell away beneath them, replaced by the star-studded expanse of space, Zora allowed herself a moment of relief. They had escaped, for now. Setting course for Eden Station, Jake announced, his voice tight with concentration. Let's hope those coordinates are legit, and that your grandmother doesn't have the entire Xenovian fleet waiting for us when we get there. Zora managed a weak smile, her hand resting protectively over her abdomen. Have faith, Jake. The universe has already given us one miracle. Perhaps it has a few more in store. As their shuttle streaked across the solar system, leaving behind everything they had ever known, neither Zora nor Jake could have imagined the incredible journey that lay ahead. For in that moment, cradled within Zora's body, a new form of life was taking shape, one that would change the course of history for both their peoples. Nova, child of two worlds, slumbered peacefully, dreaming of stars yet undiscovered and adventures yet to come. Cosmic crucible. The vast emptiness of space stretched before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities punctuated by the distant twinkle of stars. Jake's shuttle, christened Quantum Leap, in a moment of ironic humor, hurtled through the void towards the coordinates of Eden Station. Zora sat in the co-pilot's seat, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Her hand rested on her abdomen when Nova continued to grow, defying the laws of nature with every passing moment. How are you feeling? Jake asked, glancing over with concern. Any more quantum morning sickness? Zora's mouth tentacles curled in amusement. I'm fine, Jake. Though I must admit, I never expected my first interstellar fugitive experience to involve morning sickness. Their banter was interrupted by a series of urgent beeps from the navigation console. Jake's eyes widened as he took in the readings. Stardust and supernovas, he breathed. We've got company. A massive Xenovian warship had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel, its imposing silhouette blotting out the stars behind them. Attention unregistered vessel, a stern voice crackled over the comms. This is Admiral Zixnoff of the Xenovian Stellar Navy. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Failure to comply will result in immediate destruction. Jake's knuckles whitened as he gripped the controls. Any chance that's a distant cousin coming to congratulate us? Zora's scales paled. That's my uncle. He's not known for his warmth or understanding. Right then, Jake muttered. Hold on to something. This is going to get bumpy. He yanked the controls hard, sending the quantum leap into a gut-wrenching spiral. The Xenovian warship opened fire, lances of energy sizzling past them into the void. Jake, Zara cried out, her gills fluttering in distress. We can't outrun them. Their quantum drives are far superior to this shuttle's engines. A determined gleam entered Jake's eyes. Maybe we can't outrun them, but we might be able to outsmart them. Zara, remember that theoretical paper we were working on? About using quantum entanglement to create localized wormholes. Zara's eyes widened in realization. Jake, that's purely theoretical. We've never even tested it in a lab, let alone in real space. No time like the present for a field test, Jake grinned, his fingers flying over the shuttle's makeshift control panel. I've been tinkering with the shuttle's systems. If we can generate a large enough quantum field, we might be able to punch a temporary hole in space-time. Another barrage of energy blasts rocked the shuttle. Warning lights flashed across the console as their shields began to fail. We don't have a choice, Zara said, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. What do you need me to do? Jake nodded towards a jury-rigged device cobbled together from spare parts. Channel your biophotonic energy into that emitter. I'll handle the quantum calculations. As Zara focused her innate Xenovian abilities into the device, Jake's mind raced through complex equations. The shuttle shuddered around them, pushed to its limits. Almost there, Jake muttered through gritted teeth. Just a little more power. Suddenly, the view screen erupted in a dazzling display of light and color. Space itself seemed to twist and warp before them, forming a swirling vortex of impossible geometries. Holy hydrogen, Jake exclaimed. It's working. Hang on tight. The quantum leap plunged into the wormhole just as the Xenovian warship unleashed another volley. Reality stretched and distorted around them, bathing the cockpit in otherworldly energies. Zara felt a strange tingling sensation throughout her body, centered on her womb. For a terrifying moment, she feared what this quantum turbulence might do to Nova. But then she felt it, a tiny kick, as if their unborn child was letting her know everything would be all right. With a final flash of light and a bone-jarring lurch, they burst out of the wormhole into unfamiliar space. The Xenovian warship was nowhere to be seen. Jake let out a whoop of triumph. We did it. Zara, we just made scientific history. The first purposefully generated traversable wormhole. Zara laughed, giddy with relief and residual adrenaline. I can't believe it actually worked. Though I doubt the Stellar Physics Institute will accept running from my angry relatives as proper experimental methodology. As their laughter subsided, a new tension filled the air. They had escaped immediate danger, but at what cost? Jake, Zara said softly, where exactly are we? The joy drained from Jake's face as he studied the navigation readouts. I'm not sure. These star patterns don't match anything in our database. We could be anywhere in the galaxy, or beyond. The implications hung heavy between them. They were lost, adrift in unknown space, with limited supplies and a rapidly developing hybrid child on the way. Before they could fully process their situation, a new alert shined from the comms system. An incoming transmission, origin unknown. With a shared look of trepidation, they accepted the call. A holographic figure flickered to life before them, a being unlike anything they had ever seen. It appeared to be composed of pure energy, constantly shifting and flowing in mesmerizing patterns. Greetings, wayfarers, the being spoke, its voice resonating directly in their minds. We have been expecting you. Jake and Zara exchanged shocked glances. You've been expecting us. Jake managed to stammer. The energy being's form rippled in what might have been amusement. Indeed, the birth of a Nexus child is a rare and momentous event, one that echoes across space and time. We are the Guardians, and we have watched over such cosmic convergences since the dawn of consciousness in this universe. Zara's hand instinctively went to her abdomen. You know about our child, about Nova. Nova, the Guardian repeated, its form pulsing with approval. A fitting name for one who will ignite new possibilities. Your child is unique, not just in biology but in destiny. They are a bridge between worlds, between ways of thinking and being. In Nova, the analytical brilliance of humanity merges with the intuitive wisdom of the Xenovians, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Jake's scientific mind raced with questions. But how is this possible? Our DNA shouldn't be compatible. The odds against this kind of spontaneous hybridization are astronomical. The Guardian's form shimmered with what might have been laughter. You humans, always so focused on the how and why. There are forces at work in the universe beyond your current understanding. Let's just say that when two souls are meant to come together, even the laws of physics will bend to accommodate that union. Zara leaned forward, her eyes shining with a mix of hope and uncertainty. So what happens now? We're fugitives from both our worlds. How can we keep Nova safe? The Guardian's energy coalesced into a more defined shape, reminiscent of a robed figure. That, young ones, is where your true journey begins. Nova's birth will mark a turning point not just for your species, but for all sentient life in this galaxy. There are those who will seek to prevent this, fearing the change it represents. And there are others who will fight to protect it, recognizing the potential for a new era of cosmic harmony. Jake squared his shoulders, a look of determination settling over his features. Whatever it takes, we'll protect our child. But we can't do it alone. We need help. The Guardian nodded, or at least gave the impression of nodding. And help you shall have. We will guide you to Eden Station, where allies await. But be warned, the path ahead is fraught with danger. You will be tested in ways you cannot imagine. The fate of galaxies may well rest on your shoulders. As the Guardian's form began to fade, Zara called out, "Wait, how will we know what to do? How can we prepare Nova for this destiny?" The Guardian's voice echoed in their minds as its image dissipated. Trust in each other. Trust in the love that brought you together against all odds. And most importantly, trust in Nova. The child of two worlds will know the way. With that, the Guardian vanished, leaving Jake and Zara alone once more in the vastness of uncharted space. For a long moment, they sat in stunned silence, trying to process everything they had just learned. Finally, Jake reached out and took Zara's hand, intertwining his fingers with her alien digits. "Well," he said with a lopsided grin, "I guess this is a little bigger than worrying about diaper changes and college funds." Zara's mouth tentacles curled in a smile, her free hand resting protectively over Nova. Indeed, it seems our little quantum miracle has quite the adventure ahead. As if in response, Zara felt another small kick from within. Despite the uncertainty that lay ahead, a wave of love and protectiveness washed over her. Whatever challenges the universe had in store, they would face them together, as a family. Jake turned back to the controls, plotting a course deeper into the unknown. Next stop, Eden Station. Let's go see about those allies. The Quantum Leap's engines hummed to life, propelling them forward into a future filled with both peril and promise. As they journeyed on, neither Jake nor Zara could shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a cosmic odyssey that would reshape the very fabric of reality. Nova, the impossible child, slumbered peacefully within Zara's womb, dreams of stardust and quantum possibilities dancing through its developing mind. The fate of worlds rested in its tiny, hybrid hands, a destiny that would unfold one incredible step at a time. Nexus of Destinies. The Quantum Leap drifted through a shimmering nebula, its iridescent gases casting an otherworldly glow across the ship's hull. Inside, Jake and Zara huddled over a makeshift holographic display, studying the strange star charts provided by the enigmatic Guardian. According to these coordinates, Jake mused, his brow furrowed in concentration, Eden Station should be just beyond this cosmic dust cloud, but I'm not picking up any signs of artificial structures. Zara's tendrils rippled with concern. Could the Guardian have been mistaken, or worse, led us into a trap. Before Jake could respond, the ship's sensors erupted in a cacophony of alarms. The nebula around them began to shift and swirl, coalescing into a massive, swirling vortex. "Gravitational anomaly detected," Jake shouted, his hands flying over the controls. "It's pulling us in." The quantum leap shuddered as it was caught in the grip of an impossibly strong gravitational field. Through the viewscreen, they watched in awe as the swirling gases parted to reveal a massive structure hidden within the heart of the nebula. "By the cosmic web," Zara breathed, her scales shimmering with excitement. "It's not a station, it's a Dyson sphere." The enormous construct engulfed them, a habitat the size of a solar system encasing a captive star. As they penetrated the outer layers, a dizzying array of habitats, shipyards, and impossible geometries came into view. Suddenly, their comms crackled to life. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare to be tractored in." Jake and Zara exchanged worried glances. Had they escaped one danger only to fly directly into another? As the quantum leap was gently guided towards a sprawling docking complex, they were struck by the sheer diversity of ships and beings visible through the viewports. It seemed every known sentient species in the galaxy, and quite a few unknown ones, were represented here. "Welcome to Eden Prime," a melodious voice announced as they touched down. "Last free port in the known universe and nexus of 1,000 destinies. Please prepare for decontamination and identity verification." A shimmering force field enveloped their ship, bathing it in a rainbow of energies. When it dissipated, the airlock hissed open to reveal a welcoming committee unlike any other. A being that appeared to be made entirely of living crystals stepped forward, its faceted surface refracting the light in hypnotic patterns. "Greetings, Jake Hawkins and Zara Cathala. I am Prism, liaison to new arrivals. We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival." Jake blinked in surprise. "You know who we are." "How?" Prism's crystalline form sparkled with amusement. "Eden Prime exists outside traditional space-time. We have unconventional methods of gathering information. But come, there is much to discuss and little time." The convergence approaches. As they followed Prism through the twisting corridors of Eden Prime, Jake and Zara were assaulted by a sensory overload of sights, sounds, and smells from across the cosmos. Gravity seemed to shift and bend around them, and more than once they could have sworn they caught glimpses of shadowy figures that existed in more than 3 dimensions. "This is incredible," Zara marveled, her scientific curiosity overriding her apprehension. "The technology here, the melding of organic and mechanical, it's beyond anything I've ever dreamed of." Prism led them to a vast chamber dominated by a swirling holographic display of the galaxy. Gathered around it were beings of every conceivable form, some humanoid, others utterly alien. "Esteemed members of the Cosmic Conclave," Prism announced, "I present Jake Hawkins of Earth and Zara Cathala of Synovia Prime, bearers of the Nexus Child." A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled beings. An entity that appeared to be a sentient cloud of gas floated forward, its voice a harmonious whisper. "At last, the prophecy nears fulfillment. Show us the child of 2 worlds." Zara hesitated, her protective instincts flaring. Jake squeezed a hand reassuringly, and together they stepped forward. Zara's abdomen began to glow with a soft, pulsing light, and the holographic display above them shimmered and changed. A gasp went up from the conclave as a new image took shape, a double helix of DNA, but one unlike any seen before. Strands of human and Zenovian genetic material twisted and danced together, forming impossible patterns that radiated with potential. "Extraordinary," a being of pure energy breathed, its form flickering with excitement. "The quantum entanglement at the genetic level, it's a perfect fusion." "But what does it mean?" Jake asked, his scientific mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "Why is our child so important to beings as advanced as yourselves?" A figure stepped forward from the shadows, and Jake felt his breath catch in his throat. It was unmistakably human, yet ancient beyond reckoning, with eyes that held the wisdom of eons. Because, Dr. Hawkins, the figure said, his voice resonating with power, your child represents the next step in cosmic evolution, a being capable of bridging not just species, but realities. The ancient human gestured, and the holographic display expanded to show multiple versions of the galaxy, each slightly different. The multiverse trembles on the edge of a great convergence, infinite possibilities collapsing into a single unified reality. Your child, Nova, will be the linchpin that holds it all together. Zora's tendrils curled in confusion. But how? Nova is just a baby, a miraculous one perhaps, but still just an infant. The energy being pulsed with gentle amusement. Time is an illusion, Dr. Kethala. What you carry within you is both child and cosmic force, alpha and omega. Nova exists simultaneously across all potential timelines, a living bridge between what is, what was, and what could be. Jake's mind reeled with the implications. So when the Guardian spoke of Nova's destiny, it was no mere metaphor, Prism finished. The very fate of existence rests in your hands, or more accurately, in your genes. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The holographic display flickered, showing a massive fleet of ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the edge of the nebula. It's a joint Terran-Zenovian attack force, the gaseous entity hissed. They found us. The ancient human's eyes narrowed. It seems the forces that fear change have tracked you here. We've run out of time for explanations. Jake, Zora, you must make a choice. Stay here under our protection or what? Zara demanded, her scales flashing with determination. The human smiled, a hint of mischief in his ageless eyes. Or we show you what Nova is truly capable of. But be warned, there's no going back. The path ahead will rewrite the very nature of reality as you know it. Jake and Zara shared a look, years of unspoken communication passing between them in an instant. They nodded in unison. We're in, Jake said firmly. Whatever it takes to protect our child and secure a future for all sentient life. The ancient human's smile widened. I was hoping you'd say that. Prism, prepare the Nexus chamber. It's time to kickstart the next phase of cosmic evolution. As klaxons wailed and the massive fleet drew ever closer, Jake and Zara were ushered towards a pulsing portal of pure energy. They stood on the precipice of the unknown, hands clasped tightly together. Ready to rewrite the cosmos, Starshine? Jake asked, a nervous grin on his face. Zora's tendrils curled affectionately. With you by my side, always. Together, they stepped into the light, and reality itself held its breath in anticipation. The convergence had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. Quantum crescendo. The Nexus chamber pulsed with ethereal energy, its crystalline walls refracting impossibilities. Jake and Zara stood at its center, their forms wavering as if viewed through rippling water. Nova's presence within Zara's womb radiated power, connecting them to the very fabric of spacetime. Initiating convergence sequence, Prism's voice echoed, tinged with both excitement and trepidation. Brace yourselves. What you're about to experience, well, let's just say it's going to make your wormhole jaunt look like a stroll through the park. Reality fractured around them, shards of alternate timelines bleeding through. Jake gasped as he saw glimpses of paths not taken, himself as a celebrated physicist on Earth, Zara as High Counselor of Zenovia, Nova as something beyond comprehension. Focus. The ancient human's voice cut through the chaos. Your bond is the anchor. Let Nova's consciousness guide you through the quantum foam. Zara's tendrils intertwined with Jake's fingers that touch a lifeline in the swirling maelstrom of possibility. She felt Nova's presence expand, encompassing not just their immediate surroundings, but stretching across light years, across dimensions. Suddenly, they were everywhere and everywhere at once. They stood on the bridge of the Terran flagship, watching Admiral Hawkins, Jake's father in this reality ordered the attack on Eden Prime. Simultaneously, they observed Zora's grandmother, High Counselor Zix Tara, rallying the Zenovian armada with promises of genetic purity. They're afraid, Zora realized, her voice echoing across realities. Afraid of what Nova represents, the breaking down of barriers they've relied on for millennia. Jake nodded, his consciousness stretched to its limits. Fear leads to conflict, to stagnation. But there's another way. Guided by an instinct beyond rational thought, they reached out, not with hands, but with the very essence of their beings. Nova's power flowed through them, and suddenly, they were within the minds of every being in both fleets. A cosmic perspective blossomed in the consciousness of humans and Zenovians alike. They saw the intricate web of connection binding all sentient life, the infinite potential born from diversity and cooperation. Weapons powered down as epiphanies rippled through command structures. But the convergence was far from over. They tumbled through the multiverse, witnessing countless variations of their story. In one reality, Earth and Zenovia had already achieved peaceful unity. In another, Earth civilizations had fallen to a threat from beyond the galactic rim. The nexus is destabilizing. Prism's panicked voice cut through the visions. The power output is beyond anything we've ever seen, if we don't contain it. The ancient human's calm voice responded, "No, don't contain it. This is what Nova was born to do. Let it happen." Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as Nova's consciousness expanded to encompass everything. Past, present, and future collided in a symphony of quantum possibility. Jake and Zara felt their individual selves dissolving, merging with each other and with Nova into something greater than the sum of its parts. In that moment of cosmic unity, they understood. Nova wasn't just their child. It was the universe's way of evolving, of transcending the limitations of singular species and realities. Through Nova, the multiverse was becoming aware of itself, healing ancient wounds and forging new connections. With a soundless explosion of pure potential, the convergence reached its crescendo. When Jake and Zara's consciousness returned to their bodies, they found themselves back in the Nexus chamber. But it was different. The walls seemed to breathe with living light, and through them, they could see not just Eden Prime, but layers upon layers of interconnected realities. Prism's crystalline form shimmered into view, but now they could perceive the multitude of alternate prisms existing simultaneously. It worked, the being said in awe. The convergence is complete. Reality as we knew it has been fundamentally altered. The ancient human stepped forward, a proud smile on his timeless face. You've done it. Nova has reshaped the cosmos, creating a new paradigm of existence. The barriers between realities have become permeable, allowing for unprecedented exchange of knowledge and culture. Zara looked down at her abdomen, marveling at the cosmos in miniature she could now perceive within. But what does this mean for Nova, for us? A soft laugh drew their attention. A figure composed of swirling stardust coalesced before them, the guardian who had first guided them to Eden Prime. It means, young ones, that your journey is only beginning. Nova will be born into a universe of infinite possibility, with you as guides and protectors. Jake's scientific mind raced with the implications. The quantum entanglement, the genetic fusion, it wasn't just about combining our species, was it? It was about creating a being capable of perceiving and manipulating the quantum nature of reality itself. The Guardian nodded, stars twinkling in its cosmic form. Precisely. Nova is both child and cosmic force, the key to unlocking the next stage of universal evolution. And you, as Nova's parents, will play a crucial role in shaping this new reality. Zora's tendrils curled thoughtfully. But what about our peoples? The fleets that were attacking? The ancient human waved a hand, and a holographic display sprang to life. It showed the Terran and Zenovian ships, no longer in battle formation, but mingling peacefully. The convergence has opened their minds to new possibilities. There will be challenges ahead, certainly, but the age of isolation and fear is over. A new era of cosmic cooperation has begun. As if on cue, a transmission crackled through the chamber. Admiral Hawken's voice, filled with wonder and a hint of sheepishness. "This is the Terran flagship requesting permission to dock. We are, come in peace, and with a lot of questions." Jake and Zara shared a laugh, the tension of their incredible journey finally releasing. They had done it. They had not only protected Nova, but had helped usher in a new age for all of existence. "Well, Starshine," Jake said, pulling Zara close. "Ready to introduce our families to their multidimensional grandchild." Zara's scales shimmered with joy and anticipation. As ready as anyone can be to explain that their baby is the linchpin of cosmic evolution. As they prepared to greet the newly enlightened representatives of their respective species, Nova stirred within Zara's womb. Its consciousness, vast beyond imagining yet still so new, reached out to touch the minds of its parents. In that touch was love, wonder, and a promise. No matter how strange and marvelous the universe might become, they would face it together, as a family. The Nexus chamber hummed with possibility, a reflection of the new cosmic order Nova had birthed. As Jake and Zara stepped forward to greet their transformed worlds, they knew that every challenge overcome had led to this moment. They were no longer fugitives or star-crossed lovers, but pioneers of a new cosmic age. And Nova, the impossible child of two worlds, dreamed of the infinite adventures that awaited, a lifetime of discovery in a universe reborn.